So I know this isn't as dramatic as some of the posts here, but I'm curious for your opinions. My brother's fiance has been trying to prank me forever. I don't get startled easily, so she has decided on her own to take up the challenge of being the person who successfully scares me. I never prank her back, but sometimes I'll play along with her attempts. She doesn't do this often. Previous pranks are hiding behind a door, car, in a closet, and jumping out at me, so it's never anything elaborate. They've been together 3 years. Never had any problems with them, but she tried to prank me last night, and now my brother is upset about it. Both my brother and his fiance are currently crashing at my apartment because they are in the process of moving into their first home in my city. The prank. She hid under my bed while I was out for a run in the evening. When I got back, before I went into the shower, I was at my bedside table taking my watch off and dropping it on the charger. The room was dark except for my lamp, so I didn't notice anyone under my bed. She touched my foot. It was a really light graze, so it didn't register with me. I stepped back and squatted down so I could see under there a little. It was dark, but I could see long hair. A part of me just knew it was her because no one else would do this. I said something like, "Her name. I can see you under there." But who's the other one? This scared her. In her panic, she struggled to get out from under the bed, all while asking me, "What do you mean?" She scrambled out and slammed into me. She also screamed, which made my brother come into the room. She was in my arms. I take it, this is why he's mad. I tried to explain I was just freaking with her, because she was clearly trying to prank me. He thinks I'm flirting with his fiancée, that apparently this has been going on for a while since these pranks began. I told him the pranks are his fiancée's idea and he should be having this conversation with her, not me. It's been really awkward between us now. I have 2 more weeks with them. I feel like they're both blaming me and it's unfair. Should I apologize, but for what? I feel like I'm owed the apology. Am I being a jerk? Some comments. Commenter. Not the a-hole. Frankly, I think there is some truth, at least perceived, that your brother's fiancé is flirting a bit. The fact that she was in your arms and he said, "It's been a while," tells me that maybe he thinks or is seeing things from her that he doesn't like. Problem is, he's taking it out on you and not his fiancé. Original poster responded, "Do you know how I can discuss this with him so that I'm not the villain and without setting him off?" I don't even know how to fix it. Commenter, not the a-hole. So it's okay for his girlfriend to constantly prank you, but the one time you turn it around on her and all of a sudden you're the bad guy? Your brother should have put a stop to this a long time ago and stopped enabling his girlfriend's shitty behavior. Tell him that she is no longer allowed in your home, and frankly, he should not be either until both of them learn how to be actual adults. Original poster responded, "It honestly feels like she told him a version of events to save her own ass that's made him develop a misunderstanding. Grudge against me." I don't know what it is, though, because he's giving me the cold shoulder until I apologize, but I have nothing to apologize for. Somebody said, "Hell no, not the a-hole." Sit everybody down as soon as possible for a grown-up discussion. You're guests in my home, and you're very welcome to be here, but there is tension, and it's not right that we live like this. So let's have a talk and clear the air. What is bothering you? Listen to their grievances and then respond, "I've listened to you, now here's what's bothering me." If y'all can't reach an understanding and be cool with each other, invite them to find other accommodations. I've been humoring your fiancé's immature attempts at whatever it is that she thinks she's doing. But this is my home, and I want it to be peaceful and stress-free. I don't want to be walking around eggshells in my own home. If this is what you'd like as well, then let's agree that this was all a misunderstanding. No one meant any maliciousness or harm, and move on. If you aren't able to do that, then we can Google some places for you to stay. Original poster responded, "Cucumber. I appreciate you. This was helpful. I liked how you worded some of this. I'm going to say something a little less polished but similar in sentiment." One more thought from original poster on his brother and how he didn't notice his girlfriend gone. He was locked in on the PlayStation. I never actually thought about how long she hid under my bed for, but now I'm curious. To clarify, I don't think he thought we did anything inappropriate during that moment when he walked in. It's more like he just didn't like the sight of it, and it's triggered him somehow. Being uncomfortable in my own home describes it perfectly. I'm going to take some of what was said here and express it to them clearly. Update 2 days later, I mentioned in a comment, but I have a boyfriend. If it matters, I like women too. My boyfriend has met my brother and his fiancée. I didn't think flirting was something I would be accused of given my relationship, so when my brother brought it up, it felt abrupt, and I was blindsided. I spoke with my brother privately since his feelings are more important to me. He said this all came out because ever since they moved into my apartment, his fiancée has been making comments about how I maintain my place, handle chores, the cooking I do for us, how I'm quick to fix things, that I make furniture, I do that for a living, etc. He felt she was comparing us, and her comments started to build up. He apologized for directing his frustration at me instead of communicating with her, which he then turned around and did. I don't know how that went. She refused to apologize to me initially because she claims I have flirted with her too, but she couldn't come up with a single example of the behavior. It doesn't exist. As straightforwardly as I could, I made it clear to both of them that I am not interested in her, and if she can't apologize, she can leave. I entertained the pranks before because they were harmless, but they're off the table now. I didn't have a rule about going into my room. I only told them to knock first if I'm in there. Today, she approached me to apologize. I told her I know it's insincere, but I'll accept it because I love my brother. I hope they break up. Some comments. Commenter, I thought you would update. I asked you originally how long she had been hiding under your bed while you were out, and you mentioned that your brother had been gaming. I judged your brother on not even knowing where his fiancée was because he was too interested in his gaming. I was wrong. I feel really bad for him. If she is banging on at him constantly about how much you do around the house, where chores are concerned, how you cook for them, how you fix things, etc., it means that he has been feeling inferior for a while. Not your fault, obviously, because you are just taking care of your own home and taking care of your guests. Can you imagine what his life will be like when they find their own place? She sounds like she will expect him to do everything. The fact that she basically admitted to flirting with you, her admission was when she claimed that you flirted with her too, very important word, is enough of a reason for him to reconsider their relationship. I think he's halfway there already. She is a nightmare. Original poster responded, the comments she's made are apparently new and only started when they moved into my apartment. Based on my conversation with my brother, he feels like a lot of it is probably due to us having to be close quarters and the general disruption of their routines. My brother struggles to adapt when he loses his routine. They're living out of boxes, they're short with each other and stressing out about their move. There were also some maintenance issues with their house that needed to be addressed before they could obtain occupancy. I got a bit more of a clearer picture after he opened up to me. He did apologize, and I know he means it too. My understanding, however, doesn't extend to her. I think she's immature. My brother is the one taking on most of their tasks, and to hear that she's been criticizing him pissed me off. I think he started feeling burnt out, and gaming is something that allows him to escape and decompress. He might have been isolating, and that ramped up her boredom, so she decided to focus on pranking me. That part's a guess, though. Oh, and for what it's worth, my brother tends to be really slow with decision-making. So even if he sees the flaws in her that I've brought attention to, he's the type of person who is going to turn the same thoughts over 1,000 times before he does anything about it, so I'm staying out of the relationship side of things.
As you would expect from the title, my dad, 56 years old, was adopted at birth. He was raised in Eastern Canada and never really searched for his birth parents. The people who raised him are his parents to him, and he loves them very much. They have always been amazing grandparents to my sister, 19, and I, 21. All he had from his birth parents was a letter which told him he was born out of love, but they could not support him when he was born. So when my sister decided to get him a genetic test for Christmas, it was purely with the intention to find out what ethnicity we all are, and the thought of finding his birth parents didn't even cross our minds. Eventually, when we got his results, we were surprised to find the names of 2 people with perfect genetic matches to my dad. He had the option to reach out to them, so he wrote them each an email and just waited for their responses. Almost immediately, His biological dad, who I'll call Jay, not his real name, responded. He said how excited and happy he was to have found my dad and how he was looking for him for so long. My dad, who is usually an emotionally reserved man, was curled up on the couch grinning as he was texting Jay for the first time. I was still in shock from the news, but was so happy to see my dad, even happier than when I graduated uni. Soon thereafter, he also received a message from his biological mum, Donna, not her real name. By talking to them both, my dad learned the story of his birth, and I think that it's absolutely wild. Donna is the daughter of an Australian mining engineer, and they all moved to Canada for his work when she was in high school. Later on, they moved to the Midwest, where she met Jay at the age of 17. They were high school sweethearts and were thinking of marriage after they graduated, but then Donna got pregnant. This being the 60s, this was a huge deal. Her dad was furious and sent her back to Canada to give birth and arranged a private adoption as he knew of a couple who were trying to have a kid. My grandparents. Once she gave birth, she was able to let Jay know that she was being sent back to Australia. They never saw each other again for the next 40 years. Jay apparently was only able to move on once he received a letter over 5 years later from Donna, saying that she got married. Eventually, he got married too, and they moved to the West Coast. But his wife got into a terrible car crash and lost the use of both legs and one arm, so they were never able to have kids. Donna had 3 daughters in Australia, the oldest of which is 7 years younger than my dad. They saw each other for the first time around 12 years ago, as they reconnected on Facebook, and Donna happened to be taking a trip to the West Coast of America. Both Jay and Donna had always wanted to keep my dad, and so they tried for decades to find him. But my province apparently is one of the hardest places in the world to find adoption information, especially since my dad only received his birth certificate at his baptism, so their names were not on it. Jay had essentially given up trying to find my dad until genetic tests became popular. He asked Donna to take every single one, and he did the same about 5 years ago in the hopes that one day my dad would take one. When he received my dad's message, he immediately wrote to Donna, "I found him." Since then, we have had several calls with Jay and his wife, and they are absolutely lovely. We are their only family since they don't have kids, and I couldn't be happier. At the end of the month, we'll be flying to the West Coast to meet them. It has been harder to talk to Donna, as Australia is so many hours ahead of us, but she also is so kind and an absolute joy to talk to. I haven't met my 3 new aunts yet, but apparently one lives in London. It's crazy to think that I might have been within a few kilometers of her the few times I visited. I also have 5 new younger cousins. A couple of them are huge fans of Japanese culture, so they're ecstatic to hear that they have half Japanese cousins. My mum is Japanese Canadian, so my sister and I are both half. We hope to visit them one day in Australia, but we might all meet up in Japan next year. I don't know how to end this. I am still processing everything. It's absolutely incredible to have my family grow so much, but also a little overwhelming. I'm so happy for my dad, for Jay, and for Donna, and I'm so excited to get to know them better. I hope I get to meet my new cousins soon too. I feel so incredibly lucky that this happened, seemingly against all odds. My dad was initially raised Francophone, so it's a miracle that they even speak the same language. Anyways, thank you so much for taking the time to read through this, and my apologies for how long this post ended up being. I might post an update after I meet Jay and his wife. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Update. First of all, thank you so much to everyone who left such kind and heartfelt comments on my first post. It's incredible hearing all of your stories. To those who were concerned that we would abandon my grandparents that I grew up with, that is most definitely not the case. They were the people I grew up with, and I absolutely love them to bits, although only my grandmother is still with us. All the incredible times I've had with her growing up are so much more important than blood, and I can't comprehend the stories I read where people forget about their adoptive parents or grandparents when they find their biological ones. I won't recap my previous post here because I'm lazy. So we just got back from visiting Jay and his wife, who I'll call Mary, not her real name, on the West Coast, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. We spent a week in their city and got to experience so much with them. Our first time meeting them in person was very emotional and felt very surreal. We spent the whole day looking through my dad's and our old photos, basically catching Jay up on everything that he has missed over the past 56 years. We also got to see so many of his and Mary's old photos too, which was very cool. We went to a park near their house, and on the walk I heard Jay whisper, "My son," with a massive smile across his face. Throughout the week, we explored their city and saw so many cool sights and tried so much delicious food. Mary knows her city so well, and it was great to see her favorite spots all around the city, from food carts to gardens to museums. We all went to an incredible Japanese-American museum, and Jay and Mary absolutely loved it. They were very keen to learn about the internment during World War II and said that they knew a bit about it before, but now it feels so personal. We went on 2 hikes with Jay. Mary wasn't able to come because she is in a wheelchair. It's so cool to have such an active and outdoorsy grandfather who is able to go on such long hikes. He taught us some foraging tips and told us stories from when he used to camp for years on end. Both he and Mary are very spiritual, so he also told us great stories from meditation retreats they've done. He's even tried psychedelics, so he's definitely the cool grandpa. I won't go into precise details of places we went to, but it was great exploring such a cool part of the world with amazing people. We were all very sad when the trip was over and we had to leave. I've gained 2 new grandparents on the West Coast, and I couldn't be happier. And they said that they've gained 2 grandchildren. I'm so glad that they see us as such. Mary told me her greatest regret in life was not being able to have children and grandchildren, but now she does. This has been such a transformative time in our lives, and I think it's incredible just how many people are so much happier now because my sister just happened to get my dad a DNA test. This is just the beginning of our relationship with our new grandparents, and I am so excited. Now we have to figure out a way to go to Australia to meet Donna. Whenever that happens, maybe I'll make another update. Until then, I hope you all have a lovely day, and thank you so much for taking the time to read our story.